When Professor X ends up breaking the bonds of imprisonment, he will go on a worldwide trip that will see him be hunted by friends and enemies alike, because this isn't just any old manhunt, this is an X-MANHUNT. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Uncanny X-Men issue 11 and find out, shall we? So then, as the comic opens up, we are once again treated to excerpts from the secret journal of Charles Xavier, something we haven't actually seen since the first arc of this series. He talks about life, some of the time he spent in space, and how while he always thought he was a good friend, a good mentor, at the end of the day, I think everyone can agree he's kind of a crappy parent. Now, juxtaposing that narration, we see a Shi'ar royal ship end up getting attacked by a group of anti-Empress rebels. I know, must be a day that ends in Y then in the grand Shi'ar Empire, am I right? If these rebels want to get their grubby hands on the Empress, though, they're going to need to go through probably her most brutal protector. Of course, I'm talking about the Shi'ar mutant known as Deathbird. Man, you know, I don't read a lot of the spacey X-Men stuff anymore, so I can't even remember the last time I've seen this character, though I do appreciate that Gail Simone gives her all the pomp and circumstance on her big return. Now, even though Professor X still might very well be a prisoner of Dr. Ellis and the Graymalkin Institute, he's still able to use his psychic abilities to perceive the world that is taking place out there without him. Meaning that he can actually see that his daughter, the Empress, is in danger, but that he is completely and utterly powerless to help her, a fact of which makes him feel pretty small and pretty weak. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time Xavier and Xandra actually met face to face. I know back during the Krakoan era, he actually sent Storm to play intermediary so he didn't have to see his daughter. Now, while all of this is going on, Dr. Ellis and her people are still trying to rebuild the Graymalkin Prison following the events of Raid on Graymalkin, an event story so bad it made me actively prune a bunch of my X-Men titles. Hell, were I not already reading Uncanny X-Men, and if I wasn't one of the biggest Gail Simone marks to ever live, there's a good chance I probably wouldn't even have read this kickoff issue to begin with. It seems that the facility is making use of something called Perimeter, a brand new AI assistant that 100% looks evil and like it's going to become sentient at any moment. But wait, there's more. Apparently a bunch of the facility guards have been calling in sick recently. Something is really cutting through Dr. Ellis's people, and she doesn't know why. Though later on in the issue, we see one of these guards in question go so nuts due to sickness he ends up gunning down his entire family, who to him look like sentinels. You would assume, being a guard in a big mutant hate prison, he would probably love sentinels. Now, with all that prologue out of the way, we actually get to switch on over to the stuff I like the most, and that is of course everything that's going on with Rogue and her brand new team of young mutant outliers in Louisiana. Today is more danger room training, and because they can't exactly afford a high-tech holographic computer system down here on the bayou, they just decide to let Wolverine run this combat exercise the good old-fashioned way. Now, we had seen in the previous issue that this team of young mutants was actually able to come together and defend themselves from Sentinel hounds. But their mentors still know they still have a long way to go, and because of that, today's operation is simple. Stand in a semicircle and defend your ground against all odds. Sounds simple enough, right? Step out of the semicircle and you lose, but of course this is the X-Men we're dealing with, so nothing is ever simple. What if the circle becomes a hole? What if Nightcrawler ends up teleporting? Or what if Rogue, in her role as new leader, decides that it's time for these young mutants to learn a really harsh lesson about combat training, and that is at any moment, your life may very well be in danger, and as such you need to prepare. It's actually Gambit who ends up delivering the big explosive finale to this exercise by hitting poor Jitter with a kinetic card that ends up going off like a damn bomb. Nightcrawler and Jubilee are actually a little upset about what Rogue chose to do in this situation, but Anne-Marie maintains that being an X-Men means that you're going to be out on these mean streets with killers. You think Sabretooth, Mr. Sinister, Omega Red, and the Sentinels are going to pull their punches? No, of course not. They're going to go for the throat every single time. So you better learn to hit first and hit hard if you want to live long in this X-Men business. Now don't worry, Rogue's not completely heartless. In fact, she has to kind of stop and think for a moment. Oh my god, is this why Cyclops is the way he is? Is this why Xavier was the way he was? I swore when all of this started that I would be a different type of X-Men leader, and yet now it seems like I'm repeating all the mistakes over and over again. No time to sit and stew on this brand new insight though, because at that moment Rogue and the rest of the team end up getting a call from Ellis and Graymalkin. Why the hell would they even bother taking her call, considering how the events of Raid on Graymalkin ended? Well, don't think about it. All you need to know is that Xavier has broken out of his cage, with a little help from his ex-girlfriend Sarah Gaunt, aka the Witch, who wasn't able to free herself but was able to free Xavier when he said that his daughter needed defeated him. Here's the big problem though, as we learned at the end of that terrible raid on Graymalkin's story, Xavier isn't everything he used to be. He's sick, he has some sort of parasitic brain tumor that's greatly affecting his powers and his mental cognition. So much to the point that when he actually sees Rogue's team of X-Men, he ends up seeing them as if they were the original founding X-Team, which essentially means X-MANHUNT starts because X-Dad got Alzheimer's and broke out of the home. Well, actually, there's more to that too, because apparently both Scurvy, who works for Dr. Ellis, and Harvey X, the little boy that Rogue and the others helped during the first arc of this, also had the very same brain tumor as Xavier, and that's because they're part of a secret, super special, awesome subspecies of mutant psychics known as avians, and yes, it's as dumb now as it was when I read it originally. Rogue, Wolverine, and the others try their hardest to corral Xavier, but he's not having it. He says that his daughter, Xandra, needs him and that he will stop at nothing to get to her. Though, of course, the question now becomes, is she actually in danger? Did he actually see those things from before, or is he just a crazy old man now? Can't exactly say for certain just yet, but what I can say, though, is that being crazy and being imprisoned has done absolutely nothing to dull Xavier's amazing mental mastery. He wastes absolutely no time making short work of Rogue and her team. Poor Nightcrawler ends up getting it probably worse than anyone else as Xavier stops him mid-teleportation. Which, as the comic comes to a close and Xavier walks free, I have to ask myself, whoa, could he always do that? And so that was Uncanny X-Men issue number 11, everybody, and overall I thought this issue was fine, just fine. In fact, I'll even go as far as to say this is probably a better kickoff to a big X-Men crossover event story than Graymalkin was. It's just, you know, I already didn't like Graymalkin, so it already put a bad taste in my mouth, and it certainly didn't make me want to pick up another X event basically right after, one that would have me be picking up 7 different books, which, you know, is a pretty big ask in this current comic and world economy anyway. Then you throw in the fact more than a few of these brand new From Ashes X-Men books involved in this crossover aren't actually going to be making it much longer after the actual crossover itself. Thank God for Simone, though, taking the time to actually really buckle down and focus on what's actually happening in this book and not just sacrificing characters and their development at the altar of this event. Will I be reading the rest of X-MANHUNT? Probably not. I will definitely be doing videos as it pertains to series I was already reading. Whether or not that means I'm going to be super lost in the future is still up in the air, but I hope you keep your eyes peeled to the channel and see exactly where that goes. Overall, though, I would feel comfortable giving this issue a 7 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, you know, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.